ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another brand spanking new, super squeaky clean episode of the Epic Film Guys podcast. I am Nick.
And I am Justin. I was hoping for a cleaner intro there, Nick, but I think that I hear an unnerving sound of chewing in my headphones.
Is that what that is? Is that what that crunching noise is?
What in the fuck?
I love that all of a sudden, it's when we hear crunching, I think we know what's happening, Justin. I think we know. LoySauce. He must be near.
Man, I had said on the Facebook page, you posted a thing with Michael B. Jordan the other day on our page about him eating wings in this interview. And then I had made this comment about, can we eat wings on the show? Can we eat more? And of course, LoySauce comes on this evening to talk movies with us, and he's eating as always. Thank you, LoySauce. What's up, dude? What's up, man?
What it is.
He's a hungry boy. We got to talk about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's / Sorcerer's Stone earlier.
Talking about Harry Potter makes me hungry.
Yeah, and then we just did our patron-only segment, obviously, to roll in the show, which our Patreon tiers, by the way, to just mention it here briefly, are kind of rejiggered a little bit. I added another low-level tier, a $3 tier, where from $3 up, you now get a sound on the soundboard. So if you want to troll Justin with things like,
I sucked a dick last night. Wait a minute. Though. Yeah. Does that mean that I can become a patron of our own show? That I get to pick actual sound clips to go on the soundboard? Because I don't have any on there. I don't pick any.
You do. You have one right there.
I sucked a dick last night. No, I've refused to accept that that's something that I'm going to even react to anymore. I'm not. Yep. It's not even happening.
We had a high tier on there. We had like a $50 tier on there that I kicked out. I got rid of it, and I added a new $3 tier, and I kind of rejiggered the way everything was. So basically, more swag for every tier. Now you can even get stickers at the $1 level. So not only do you get access to most of the exclusive content, I say that because now high-level patrons from $10 up, you're now going to get one extra release a month on top of everything else, above and beyond everything else, because you're so generous and so good to the Epic Film Guys podcast. We love you guys, and we want to give you more. We
want to give you LoySauce. We're going to send him to you.
And I think I tagged LoySauce in it, and he never responded to it.
Well, maybe he doesn't agree with it, but we can just do whatever we want with him. And then he can come munch your food at your house on late evenings while you're trying to watch movies, and you can see how much you enjoy it. No, we love you, man. But yeah, so how's everybody doing, man? How have you guys been? What's been going on?
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks
in a row.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about that.
You know what? I've had a very long and busy day. Started this morning with Annihilation, which, by the way, is not the type of film that you want to watch on like 4.5 hours sleep when it's the first thing you do in the morning.
Oh, definitely not. Oh,
not even close.
Definitely not. No.
So I'm going to do my best when we get into the review of that. But I wrapped up season 2 of Restaurant today, talking about Oscar party food, which is going to be exciting. I can't wait to make all those different dishes next week for the Oscars. Can you believe the Oscars are in a week? A week.
I can, actually. Yeah, man. And I was going to mention on the show, I'm making this public for anyone that lives remotely close to me. I'm in Herndon, Virginia. I'm having an Epic Film Guys Virginia Oscars party at my apartment complex. I did something for the Golden Globes. I just realized, after we had that was so much fun to have a lot of people, because I don't do it in my apartment. I do it in like our downstairs lobby type, like little
your lounge area or whatever down there.
Lounge area, yeah. There's a lot of seating. There's a lot of space for people to come, drink, eat, drink more, get fucked up, puke on the floor, munch next to LoySauce, and just enjoy the Oscars. So if you hear this and you're close,
munching on some LoySauce,
I mean, you certainly could. LoySauce, would you mind? Or, I mean,
if someone were to munch on me,
yeah. I mean, do you like being bitten or?
Well,
I don't think you need to respond any further than that.
If you're in the area, get a hold of us on our Facebook page, and you can come on over and hang out with the Epic Film Guys. Virginia, at least. Nick will be doing his thing up in New York and have some drinks, hang out, talk movies. But I'm super excited about it, Nick. I literally thought the time's just flown right by me. I couldn't believe it. It's next week.
It is, and I've got a couple of films left to try to squeeze in before the week is out. So hopefully I will be able to do so. I'm mostly ready. I think more ready than I have been in a lot of prior years. They're doing that thing. They're doing it at the Regal. I don't know if AMC is doing it, but I think I mentioned on the show last week that I am skipping out of the Best Picture showcase this year because I've already seen almost everything, so I don't really see the need.
Anything you're hoping for out of the Oscars, LoySauce?
The Shape of Water wins everything.
Well, aside from that, I mean, I think we're all pretty much on the same page. We all, at this point, I'm very confident.
We know
Gary
GDT
Oldman's
is going to win
but
Best Director. We already know that's
he
a
will.
lock.
Yeah, we know that's
he won
happening,
DGA, so he's steamrolling right through that award.
That'd be so great.
Yeah.
It's so great to see a genre director. Man, he's going to win Best Director, but I'm really excited about it. I just look forward to, I love the experience of watching it, but it'll be even more fun bringing people together, drinking good beer, you know. And there's something special happening next weekend that I'm doing. I'm going out of town. I have not made this public on the show. I will be sure when I get back next week, I will be reporting my experience. You'll be seeing images from my experience firsthand on the Facebook page as soon as they hit. I can't say anything. It's a secret thing happening, secret event. It's probably like the most excited I've been in a long time for something like this. That's all I'm going to say.
How dare
I don't want to spoil anything. How dare me? Well, yeah,
right.
You know, I can't chance it. I can't chance it. Paul, you'll get to see it when make sure it happens first, and I'll post that shit to social media.
Yeah, that's gonna be super exciting. So, a lot of stuff to look forward to. We're gonna get into a little mini review of Game Night from the two of you in just a moment because you both had the chance to see that film. But before we get there, why don't we spin into a little something that we do on the show every week that we love to call
What Are You Drinking?
I'm back! Puke and rally! Woo! Give me a beer!
So, LoySauce. You know that I force you to drink on the show. Even though
you don't force me to do anything. You're not the boss of me. You're not my dad.
you can't be eating those Russell Stover's goddamn microwave dinners, okay?
It's not Russell
It's Russell Stover's, okay? That's what I'm going to call it. That shit has 1,400 milligrams of sodium in that shit. I know it tastes good, Brian, but I'm putting my foot down. You cannot eat that shit. Okay?
Well, Justin, you're not the boss of me. As much as I know you would love to be my father, you're not my father. So I don't eat Stouffer's, not Russell Stover's, but Stouffer's meals. I don't eat Stouffer's meals every single day of my life, only for special occasions when I'm over at your house and it's we're watching a movie.
So only to piss me off. So only eat it to piss me off.
I got this. This is perfect. I have the perfect audio equivalent of eating a lot of Stouffer's meals. Are you ready?
Go for it.
You believe in Jesus? Yes, I do. Well, you're going to meet him.
But you just imagine the gunshot at the end there is the microwave dinging at the end when it's done.
I bet I'll be meeting Jesus if I keep eating too many Stouffer's meals. But anyway.
What are you drinking, buddy? What do you got in your hand there? What are you sliding down your sweat hole? What are you shoving down your throat? What are you getting deep down that throat?
Drinking Drano.
Well, I've had it on the show before, but this is one of my favorites. So I am drinking Star Hill Brewery's The Love wheat beer.
Ooh.
Very good. Very delicious. And you?
Well, this is a funny story. I'm drinking something that you actually had the luxury of drinking yourself last night. But I have a funny story about this. It was last week. I had my door wide open. I always have to wait for my daughter Kaya to get actually ready to go to dinner on Friday. I always try to get home fast so we can leave as fast as possible to beat the rush. So we can get in the restaurant, eat, get out, and come back home, drink a beer, and watch a movie. But she always takes forever. So I had the door open, and this guy walks by in the hall, and he said, "Hey, I've been looking for you." I turned to look at the guy. I don't recognize him. I've never seen him before. He's this big middle-aged guy. He's like, "There's something I want to give you." And then I just I stood up straight, kind of stepped back a little bit. I'm like, my door's wide open. My wife's right in here. I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about, man. I'm wondering if you're going to try to kill me. And he's like, "Do you drink whiskey?" And I'm like, still questioning, like, did I get way too drunk and piss on your car after Ned Devine's one night? Was it the Hopester? Did the Hopester shit on your hood or something? And this guy was like, I'm a rum drinker. I got this bottle of whiskey at my place. Do you want it? So he just invited me over to his place, gave me this bottle of whiskey, and that's what I'm sipping right now, Nick. I'm drinking the Copper Fox Rye Whiskey. The shit was distilled and bottled in Sperryville, Virginia. It is 45% alcohol by volume, 90 proof, and it's got like a very... It's purely apple wood, cherry wood flavor to it. LoySauce, I don't know. You didn't tell me really much what you thought of it, but I think it's very delicious for a whiskey, especially a rye whiskey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very delicious. It burns a little bit going down, but I mean that's what whiskey does to you.
Yeah, it was aged for 24 months, Nick. So I mean, this guy literally was just kind enough. He said he doesn't like it, and he just gave it to me. And I still don't necessarily remember where the fuck he knows me from, but
Shit, I mean,
he must have seen me somewhere.
To give me free fucking whiskey. God damn.
So, dude, yeah, that's the first time I think that I've actually drank anything other than beer on the show without mentioning it publicly. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe, you might be right.
But, buddy, Ninja Man, what do you got going down your goal this evening, my friend? I can't do the long held out notes anymore. I'm sorry. I'm just getting too old for it.
No, I'm playing that sound effect because I got nothing. No, I finished. I did have a beer when we were recording our Harry Potter and the Philosopher's/Sorcerer's Stone little spotlight that we did earlier today. I had one of my Belgians, which is still not carbonated. In this bottle, in fact, like the other bottles that I'd opened, there was at least a little bit of a psst, like the tiniest bit of carbonation. This one had none, literally none. It was just like you were, like, say you took a bottle of beer and you opened it and all the carbonation escaped and you put a cap back on it. That's what it was like. So I got to drink another one of my flat Belgians. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. So I drank all the rest of the beer that I had in the house, and I didn't feel like buying any more because I've got so many different beers that I'm brewing or planning on brewing. I was just like, well, I'm going to take a little bit of time off from it. So I've got some H2O, and I'm drinking that, and yeah,
what a pussy!
Yeah.
What a bitch.
Well, hey, you know what? I drink a lot of beer as it is, and I'm trying to really get focused. I want to do 75 miles in March. I've been doing pretty good with trying to keep working out and stay on the wagon and keep exercising, and I'm trying to push myself to hit a goal in March, and you know, unfortunately that's going to require me to curb a few things, but I do still have a like metric fuck ton of this Belgian that if it doesn't carbonate, I'm going to have to end up taking it out and putting it back into a bucket and then trying to pitch another yeast just to get it to carbonate.
You know, you could just invite the Hopester up there and he'll just drink it all in one day.
He probably would. The sad thing about it is I said it last week on the show too, but it's good. It's really good, but it's fucking flat. It's like, it would figure that the best beer I brew doesn't carbonate and turns out fucking flat. So I don't know if it's just the yeast still needs more time. I know sometimes yeast can get temperamental and just need more time to do its thing, but unfortunately this was not the case tonight. So yeah, I'm just sticking to some water for now.
Well then, so moving on from there, Brian, you and I had the opportunity to see a movie kind of unexpectedly over the weekend, something that you had mentioned to me that I was not on my radar at all. We're talking about Game Night from the people that brought you Horrible Bosses, starring Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. It's a movie about a group of friends who meet every single Friday for a game night, yet one week they find themselves trying to solve a murder mystery that turns into real-life murder. And I got to say, Brian, right off the bat, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie.
Me too. I kind of loved it.
Whoa, those are strong words, man.
No, I mean, this is one of the more stylish, inventive, and fun studio comedies I've seen in a long time. Probably since Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, which we all know that we love. But I think studio comedies nowadays, it's a rarity to find one that isn't insufferable in almost every way. And people who know me know that I can't stand... A lot of times I can't stand improv in movies when the actors are just standing around, throwing around one-liners and trying to throw out all sorts of like references and non sequiturs, and it drags out the length of the movie. It drags out the length of the scene, and it makes a lot of comedies feel unfocused and all over the place because there's no driving force to the jokes. You know, jokes have a setup and a payoff, and improv is a lot of times not based on jokes. So I went into game night aware of the good reviews that it has been getting, because it had like an 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes when I checked. And I'm like, wow, maybe there's something to this and I should go see it. But I was thinking that a lot of the humor would be, improv, or, when you get a lot of funny people together in a room, you think that it's going to be mostly improv, because that's how most studio comedies are nowadays. But I was completely won over by this film. I thought it was clever. The premise is creative and fun, and it almost turns into an action thriller at certain points.
Yeah.
Like it's really suspenseful, and a lot of twists and turns, and it's a wild ride. I had a really good time with it.
I gotta say, regardless of the amount of dick jokes and talk of dick and cock and balls that you hear on the Epic Film Guys podcast, I don't necessarily love that full and filled in my comedies, and that's what you get nowadays. And I'm not a huge modern comedy guy. Like, I'll watch one once in a great while, but I'm not the guy that goes out to the theater to see these things, just because they're usually the same thing. And it's just not my kind of comedy. I'm a huge fan of comedies in the 80s and 90s, and I miss when there were actual jokes in comedies. But this movie, I have to admit, I loved the first Horrible Bosses, and the same team was behind this, and I'll watch anything with Jason Bateman in it just to see him in it. And he's a great chemistry with Rachel McAdams in this movie, and it takes the whole game night idea, which is something that a lot of people my age, they do. I mean, Fridays and Saturdays, they go play, Cards Against Humanity, they have drinks, they chill as friends in a group, and they play games. And I like that they took that concept, made it into a really interesting movie. And it kind of blends almost like what I would take as a modern Clue, the cherished film from the 80s, and makes it a modern update, as we see these friends, as they think they're part of what is a very popular thing right now, is like these murder mysteries or these scandal mysteries you can pay to be a part of, or even escape room, which I've done many times myself. A great fun time to do. And it makes it this suspenseful action comedy. And, only a couple of dick jokes in this thing. For real. Like, it is very entertaining. I thought it was very creative, and an amazing synth score from Cliff Martinez, the composer of Drive, Only God Forgives, usually doesn't
Neon
do
Demon,
stuff like this. Neon Demon. And I'm like, dude, this shit was just amazing. Very creative way of shooting it as well. Fun. It was a blast. I laughed my ass off, and I had a great time at the movie. So if you're a fan of comedies, if, you're kind of worried about if it's the kind of comedy you want to watch, I highly recommend checking it out. It's not the run-of-the-mill shit you see every other month. It's definitely not Neighbors 2, and it's definitely not fucking Baywatch. This is a very well put together, witty and fun script, and I think it was fantastic.
I agree. Although you mentioned you kind of put it on the same pedestal as Clue, and that's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Well,
so.
I didn't say it was anywhere near the quality of Clue. I'm just saying it's kind of like a modern update of, the idea of a group of people, it's, game night, Clue,
in way over
murder
their head.
mystery.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same kind of idea. That's it. So I'd give the film a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a great fun time at the movies, and if you love comedies, you should check it out.
I'd give it an 8.
Why, thank you, LoySauce, for that 8 out of 10 rating. We're moving on from that. And you know what we're going to do? Other than listen to Nick laugh at us because he didn't see Game Night and he probably thinks we're stupid for watching it. I don't know.
No, it looked pretty interesting to me. I just didn't get a chance to check it out. So
I know you're the comedy guy more than I am, actually. You go to see more
if you
comedies.
Guys enjoyed it, I would probably love the shit out of it. So I actually really kind of, and I know a lot of other people that have actually watched it and kind of had the same, almost surprised at how much they liked it reaction. So yeah, definitely piqued my interest a little bit.
Great cast. Yeah, great fun time at the movies. But you know what, guys? Our main featured review on the show this evening is Alex Garland's highly anticipated Annihilation. It was my number 2 most anticipated movie of the year, and I got a chance to see it in theaters twice. I had to see that shit twice, Nick, and you had a chance to see it this morning, and I know you're running low on energy, so we're going to take a quick break here, and when we get back, we're going to talk all things Annihilation.
Ooh. This week in epic film history. You son of a bitch.
That whole thing that we have
You can do it! Cut his fucking head off!
Oh, God damn it. God damn you. You're going to keep doing that to me, and you're going to keep fucking me up. So
I know, it's so great because you're not used to hearing like sound effect drops. You're used to me just putting them in post, and you're like, oh, that was cool.
This movie's fucking shit. You should have never made it. Bring in Brainiac or bring in something. Bring in a real villain. What are you guys doing? This is crap. No one wants to see this. I'm giving Superman 3 a 2 out of 10.
Damn.
It's not even something that on a nostalgic value or on a cheesy value that I would ever want to put in to watch again. I love Richard Pryor. I'll go watch any movie he did from the 80s outside of this. Hey man, I'll watch The Toy 55 times in a fucking row before I watch Superman 3.
Lex Luthor's whole plot is to make Nuclear Man and give him nails so he could scratch Superman and get him sick. like
Yeah,
Superman
so
can
he's like,
still fucking breathe. How does scratching Superman, like, does Superman not know how to use fucking like peroxide so he doesn't get an infection? Like,
he's eating chicken soup. He's eating chicken soup with a blankie in front of a hot fire.
Oh my! That's so fucking stupid. It's ignorant. Like, Superman still breathes. Like, he would still breathe in. I don't know why I'm trying to apply like reason or logic to this fucking.
There's no reason or logic to this. But to my point, as I was saying, this is the movie I will watch late at night after like a 6-pack, where I can just sit and watch it for how fucking stupid it is. And I'll laugh at it. Like, that's the one thing I've got out of it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't watched The Quest for Peace in a long time. I was very scared. I was worried. I knew I had to sit through this movie before we did our retrospective. I'm glad that I did.
I will preface this as saying I love Richard Pryor's stand-up. He is one of the most iconic stand-up comedians ever. I love his fucking material. I can still listen to it today. I do listen to it in the work truck from time to time, because they play him all the time on the different Sirius channels and stuff like that. He's fucking hilarious. He was a legend in his time. He's still relevant today. He was great. Love him. He had no fucking business being in this movie. When I watched Superman 3 this past weekend, his character is so fucking useless to the plot of this fucking film whatsoever. It doesn't need to be him. His character I think it probably even maybe gets as much screen time as Superman does.
I threatened to wash LoySauce's mouth out with soap because he was being naughty in the chat on the Facebook page earlier.
You and I argued slightly before the podcast, like in real life.
Because you're a piece of shit.
Well, so are you. But I love you. And the point
Fuck
is,
you, Michael! You're a fucking piece of shit!
And I'm gonna drive up there right now just to smash that mixer, even though I love you, Emily. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for hanging out with us and sticking with us here on the Epic Film Guys podcast. Woo. We're about to get into our featured review. This week, we're going to be talking about Alex Garland's Annihilation, which is his highly anticipated follow-up to a film most of us on this planet loved, Ex Machina. All three of us on the show right now really enjoyed that film of the year itself. God, I loved it. It was one of my favorites of the year. LoySauce, I think I can speak for you too when I say that.
Yeah, it was in my top 5 of that year for sure.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, this is on my number 2 most anticipated of the year. You know, that list that Nick made sure to make fun of me about because I threw it together in like 5 minutes before recording because I totally forgot about it a few weeks ago. So I'm throwing myself under the bus just as a reminder. But man, this movie, I feel like it's really thrown people either on one side or the other as far as the reactions I've seen on social media. And I'm really interested to get down into this with you guys, into the shimmer, and talk about this movie. So, Nick, can you tell our listeners what this film is really about?
Well, no, not really, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
Do your best.
So
I know it's tough.
Lena, who's played by Natalie Portman, leads an expedition, shall we say, into the shimmer, which is this really mysterious kind of, it looks like soap film, really. That's floating around, leads them into this area where all these different crazy genetic anomalies are happening. And that's, I mean, really, there's so much going on with this movie that it's tough to kind of encapsulate it all in a brief synopsis. And I think we should set out at the beginning that we are going to talk about spoilers for this movie. So if you have not seen the movie, I mean, we could try to spoil it anyway. We still might just confuse the fuck out of you anyway. So who knows? But yeah, we're going to try. We're going to try really hard.
We're going to get into this right now. And this is a movie that I said this to you, LoySauce, as I walked out of my second viewing of this. I had the opportunity to watch this twice, an early screening at Alamo on Wednesday of last week. And then I saw it again last night. This is for me, I've never had such a night and day reaction to one, watch of the film versus another watch of it. On Wednesday, I kind of walked out feeling a little bit different than I did last night on my second viewing. I felt like the shimmer literally grabbed me and it attached itself to me and it pulled me in just like the film does. And it asked so many questions, and I kept thinking about those in my head, and I kept thinking about, man, I just need to go back to that world. I need to go back to this and see if I can answer some of those questions, and if I can just kind of take a larger grasp on what this film is. And man, the second viewing did so well and did so many wonders for me. I'm going to throw it to you, LoySauce, on your first reaction to Alex Garland's Annihilation.
Oh man. Well, I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around the experience. I watched it yesterday, and I'm still absorbing it, but I found this movie to be utterly original, haunting, transfixing, complex, emotional. I think it's one of the most notable sci-fi films of the decade in terms of, you think of the sci-fi films. I mean, Ex Machina would certainly be up there, Under the Skin, Looper, but you think of like sci-fi films released this past decade, and Annihilation ranks up there with them among the best. I mean, this is the work of a visionary director who has a unique vision. While I didn't think the film was perfect, and there are still some things I'm kind of grappling with in my brain, there's so much to appreciate in this, the beauty of it, the terror of it. I would thoroughly recommend it to anyone looking for something original and maybe a little bit more thought-provoking than your average sci-fi action blockbuster.
Nick, what was your initial reaction? I know you said that you watched the film, you were running on like 4 hours of sleep, man, but this is a film that I really didn't know, knowing you as well as I do, one way or the other, which way you were going to go with it, even though I know you love Garland's last film. What was your first takeaway as you walked out of the theater today?
I'm positive, but with some reservations. I really found a lot of good things in this film. I really found a lot of really nice things to enjoy here. What I took away from this most of all is the depth of character in this film, especially Natalie Portman's Lena, because let's face it, Natalie Portman is an incredible actress, and she really brings her A game here as she normally does. And so I really, really invested myself in that character, and she is kind of your vehicle through this. There are some issues that I have with the film that we'll definitely talk about as we get into it, but I mean, overall, I mean, there's let's not make any bones about it. There's a lot of ways that you can interpret a lot of the things that happen in this film. There's a lot of things that you can really kind of muse about intellectually and say, well, this meant this, or this symbolizes this, or this meant this. And I'm sure we'll get into some of that kind of stuff, but really, I've connected deepest with the character aspect of it. Like I said, especially Lena, and I just find Natalie Portman that engaging when I watch her, that she is your ticket into this movie. If you can catch her and go along for the ride with her, you'll be set.
I couldn't agree with you more. And, I opened this whole thing with mentioning that I had to see this a second time, and that's not always the case with me. It's very rare that I feel like I need to see a second film to give it another shot, or so that I could get more out of it. Usually I go to see a film a second or third time because I loved it so much the first time, and I want to see it again so I could enjoy that. I definitely had a lot of anticipation running up to seeing it, but I think when I sat down to watch it, I was expecting a different film than I got, and that kind of took me off guard. And in retrospect, I'm so glad that it did, because it made me want to go back and revisit it so fast. And just, going in the second time, I didn't have those expectations anymore. I knew what the film was. I'd already seen it, and I just allowed myself to be indulged right back into the shimmer again. And man, it was just such an amazing experience. Very few times in recent memory have I been so engaged in a movie before, during, and after I've witnessed it as I was with Annihilation. The film asks so many questions. And what I love about this film is that it's not there to answer those questions. The way that I've looked at it is this, and I kind of thought it in my head, is that people are kind of angry walking out of this. Some people are angry because well, there's so many themes and ideas in this, and it doesn't answer anything. It doesn't explain anything. They're there. The themes are there. There's little nods here to this or that, but it's not telling me anything. And I always go back to the idea that cinema is expression, and not all cinema is there to give you the answers. Sometimes it's just there to make you think and to find the answers for yourselves.
A lot of times, like good films like this, they leave you to find the answer for you. You interpret it how you interpret it, and you take away from it what you take away from it. So, you can walk out of this film and, I love films like this where they don't spoon feed it to you. They don't give you the answers. And I think I've seen some of those kind of reactions that you've been talking about on social media where people are like, this is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. And like, I feel like, a lot of people go into theaters. They expect to be spoon fed every single answer. This is why this happens. This is why this happens. Concrete reason, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I like films like this where it presents the world to you. It unveils it to you. It like I said, it does a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of different things you can peel apart in terms of the symbolic nature of a lot of things in this film, but it ultimately leaves it up to you to kind of determine where all that falls into place for you. I like that about it.
Absolutely. I saw someone on social media, I'm not going to name names, of course.
Was it Justin? It was Justin. Fuck you, Justin.
It was Justin. No, but someone comparing it to Alien Covenant, and I could not even begin to understand that mindset. I mean, this is a film with depth and character and deeper motivations and ambitions, and Alien Covenant is
a giant pile of shit.
Well, it's a warmed over, yes, but it's also a warmed over remake of Alien, with a little bit of navel gazing thrown in there. So this is on a complete and total different level than that. But I mean, it just speaks to Alex Garland's ambition and his brilliant screenplay that we're able to gather so much meaning from it. And again, it's hard to do that without getting into spoilers, and I'm really still processing it myself, but I'm not going to say again that this is on the same level as a Kubrick film, but you look at this and you look at 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I would get close, man. I won't lie. I would get extremely close.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that we get anything remotely close to that in today's science fiction. I will go out on a limb and say I loved Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049. I think it's one of the best science fiction films of recent memory and the past couple of years. But still, we don't get visceral sci-fi to this extent where, like, man, you walk out and you're like, I don't even know necessarily what the fuck I watched. I mean, I saw it, I listened to it, it's inside me now.
Well, and the funny
thing
is,
it's part of me.
The funny thing is, it's interesting to make that point as well, because we talked about it, I think, when we talked about the film last week on the show. But one of the producers, David Ellison at Paramount, he felt that the film was too intellectual and he wanted to change the film. And Scott Rudin, who had final cut on the film, said no. And he stood by Garland and he said, we're releasing his vision, his film into theaters, and that's what we got in the theater. So, I mean, you think about that, we almost didn't get this film. We almost didn't get, especially the ending. Like the ending, they wanted to change the ending. They wanted to change things about Natalie Portman's character. Just imagine, I mean, sometimes, and that's what you see at a studio level of filmmakers fighting to realize their vision, and I mean, I'm trying to think about it in my head, and I don't really know what they would have changed or how they would have. I guess they probably would have had scenes to, quote, explain things, unquote. And I think this film's better without them. I really do.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And, thinking about what Paramount has done, LoySauce, you and I, we talked about that after we saw the film last night. It's insane what Paramount has done in 1 year. They released Aronofsky's Mother, which was completely divisive between critics and film goers, and they marketed it pretty well. And then we have this movie, two really strange oddball movies, and they allowed these filmmakers in the end to release these visions, and they didn't alter them. They didn't change them. That's very rare. And they put them out in a larger release than most movies like this usually get.
Yeah.
So huge kudos for them, because I mean, this may not benefit a lot of viewers, because I won't lie, I walked out of my first screening of this and people were either really confused, and I heard people saying they didn't like it, but this is giving the audience something different. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, in the world of so many blockbusters, so many generic science fiction films that are aping other science fiction films we've got 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or remakes or sequels, like, dude, this is a very special thing to experience a film this original in theaters to this capacity.
I think it's special and exciting for people like us who love film and devour all different types of films, and treasure the cinematic experience of going to the movies and seeing something different. I don't think the same goes for Joe Schmo walking into the theater and just wanting to shove popcorn in his face and not wanting to be challenged at all, which is a shame because Paramount is taking a gamble with some of these films, like downsizing, like that was such a bizarre like experiment of a film, and Mother, which, is not really a movie for anyone, let alone general movie-going audiences. So I really relish the opportunity to get to see movies like this in theaters for sure. But I hate to be that dissenting voice to say like, well, the dummies walking into and I'm not trying to be condescending or disparaging here, but it is unfortunate when people walk into a movie and they're challenged by this, complex, heady sci-fi film, and they walk out saying, oh, that was a giant pile of crap, without really understanding or even really thinking about what they're watching. So in many ways, I applaud Paramount for taking risks, but then I also have to say, like, what are you guys doing? Because you're releasing this on a national rollout, and it's not meant for that kind of audience. I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm glad because it's giving the mainstream audience an option. Instead of seeing Black Panther a second time, instead of seeing it, go see this movie. It might make you think a little bit more than you usually do at the theater. And to get into the film itself, we might as well just get into the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
Very emotional. Up front, we see this character, Lena, played by Natalie Portman, beautifully in the film. I mean, the whole weight of this film is basically on her shoulders, and she completely kills it in this. As she has realized that her husband, played by Oscar Isaac, he's been gone for almost a year. He's in the military, and she's used to that because she was also in the military, and she's just kind of like been waiting around for him. She's heard no word. She's talked to his CEO. She's talked to all of his management, and she doesn't know where he is, and she thinks he's gone or dead, and she's battling with the idea of moving on. She loves this man. It's her husband. And so then she realizes as he walks in the door that things aren't what they used to be. Things aren't what they seem. Mm-hmm. And she gets, taken in very quickly into this containment unit. And she's explained to that there's the shit that basically a meteor hit a lighthouse in the country, in the swamp. And there's a thing called the Shimmer, a huge area that is contaminated. They've been sending in units to go in and research and check out this area. And that's where her husband has been this entire time. Now, it benefits the story that Lena is a biologist, and she's also been in the military. And to try to figure out what exactly happened to her husband, she decides to go in with this research team to kind of experience this for herself and see if there's any way she can help her husband. And along the way, of course, we deal with things that are just as beautiful as they are horrifying, that makes for a great cinematic experience. I think for me, what I love so much about this movie is that I love my horror. I love brutality. I love things that make you think, and I love beautiful things. I love when a film just makes you in awe over how stunning it looks. And this film puts you into that world with the Shimmer. I have to go out on a limb, guys, and say that the Shimmer itself was one of the most beautiful visuals I've seen in a film in recent memory.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And I actually want to just take a quick moment just to hit the applause button here. Just to hit the applause button for, I mean, this being a largely female-driven film. I mean, aside from
definitely
a couple of different scenes, which we'll talk about, and of course, Oscar Isaac, popping up here and there in different scenes in the film, the majority of the action, the entire research team is all women going into that thing. It's really, really nice to see, especially with the release that this got. especially with that, it's nice to see a group of women, a group of very strong and very capable women. I mean, Portman, like when Portman pulls up that assault rifle and starts firing it and stuff, like you can tell that she's trained to, handle that weapon. And it's really, really great to see, female characters like this on the screen. More of this, Hollywood, please. More of this.
Seriously, strong female characters, badass female characters, but real and relatable, and they're all
real,
very individual,
and one thing
very different from each other.
And not to cut you off there, Justin, but one thing that you mentioned at the very beginning of the film, how investing it is from the get-go. Like, even you're just meeting Lena, and you've only had a couple of brief scenes of her for, a few minutes at the beginning of the film. We're only like 5 minutes into it, but you already completely buy the relationship between herself and Oscar Isaac. You already completely buy her emotional state by the time he walks back in the door and she sees him again after all this time. It's amazing when, not only actors, but also when a filmmaker is able to realize that in such a short amount of time, because there are entire films, an entire film series, 50 Shades, where they try to force these characters together and they try to tell you how into each other they are, and you never buy it at all because there's no chemistry there and there's just no depth of performance. But I think this kind of film is the perfect example of just immediately investing you in a character and in a relationship. I love that about this.
This film blends science fiction, horror, and fantasy all into one singular film. And I think that for the most part, almost all the way there, Alex Garland gets it perfect. This moment balances a moment of pure beauty where you're in complete awe over the environment here, and it will immediately change to pure terror. It's visceral. It's terrifying. It's horrific. It's legit something that's going to be in your nightmares. I mean, I feel like it lingered in my head to make me think, and it'll haunt me in my nightmares. And that's really something that is a benefit based on the direction Alex Garland put into this movie. We have these great characters, and we follow them through this shimmer. As the interesting thing that I thought about this is that they're all there. This is not the first rescue or research mission that has occurred in the shimmer. This is what, the sixth, or I forget the number.
There's a number of them that went in before that, and they've also tried
mostly military
drones and everything,
drones, animals
to try to get in there and to try to get any kind of data back, and they can of course get nothing.
What I love about it is these characters go into this thing with pretty much knowing that no one else has made it out except for one person, and that one person that's made it out has basically gone insane.
Well, he's comatose. He goes into a coma.
He's on his deathbed, basically. Yeah. And it just, again, just shows how strong these female characters are and how they're dealing with their own personal demons as they go into this world, as they go into this mutated version of our own Earth. And they deal with things like, mutated animals that are much stronger or different, or hybrids mixed with different animals. And man, I thought it was a perfect blend of those things where it would take you on this journey, this adventure, and then it would give you these horror moments where you're like scared shitless for those horror fans like us. And there's one movie that kept coming to mind, LoySauce, as I was watching this, and it didn't hit me the first time I watched it, but I kept thinking the second time, like, whoa, this is almost like it's a modern, but more philosophical and intellectual version of John Carpenter's The Thing. I saw a lot of similarities there as far as the way we see things changing and mutating, and how the paranoia comes intact with these characters and how they interact with each other.
Definitely. And they start to break apart. They start to accuse each other. And it's that dynamic is very similar to The Thing. Again, I wouldn't say it's all that similar necessarily in tone.
Or story, yeah. But
yeah, The Thing is more straight horror, and it's a little bit more fun to watch. This is more introspective and deeper in its themes. But overall, the escalation of everything that's happening, again, you see glimpses of the beauty, but then you also get these really visceral, terrifying sequences. And we just have to talk about the scene where they take refuge in this house, and a mutated bear attacks, and it's one of the most white knuckle intense sequences I've seen in any film in a really long time, because and you guys know me. I mean, Justin, you would agree. I love my creatures and creature design in films. And this is one of the most disgusting, horrifying creatures I've seen in a film for a really long time.
But yet it's still a real animal,
Justin,
too.
describe the bear, if you would.
Okay, so a lot of these creatures that we see, they're not monsters. They're just animals that we know that are already on Earth, that we are very familiar with, but they're mutated, they're changing, they're evolving based on the shimmer. And one of the scariest things about these creatures is like a lot of their bone is showing. So like the face of the bear, you could see its skull and the muscle around its eye. And it's not complete. It's not a complete animal like that we're used to seeing. And the one thing about that scene that nailed me so hard is one of the characters is killed by the bear earlier on in the film. And as we see this bear come in the scene that you're referring to, LoySauce, it speaks with a human voice. When it opens its mouth, you hear the screams of this person that it brutally slaughtered earlier in the film. And it's one of the most terrifying, nightmarish images I've ever experienced in a film. And it does it perfectly. I was on the edge of my seat, loving it, yet still terrified all at the same time. I didn't know how to take it other than the fact that I just loved it.
Well, that scream
definitely
is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and I mentioned to Justin, like that scene hit me particularly hard because I had a recurring nightmare as a child of a dog that would scream. Like it wouldn't bark, it had like a human scream, and that like haunted me, that dream. And then like this is the closest thing to that I've seen in a film, other than like the screaming lambs and the sounds of the lambs, but you don't actually see that on screen. It's just recounted to us, and so to actually see that kind of nightmarish thing before my eyes was
and they don't hold back.
Very harrowing.
Here's the thing, Nick. They don't hold back on the violence at all in this film. Everything is visceral, pure brutality. But the way that I looked at it, this is raw. This is what our world is. Again, when we start getting to the themes of the film, I mean, that's what our world is, man. That's what we are as humans. We are destructful, but animals, the way that they're brutality, they don't think about it in the same way that humans do. When a human goes into a school and opens fire on children with a machine gun, they're knowing in their head most of the time what their actions are. A bear, when an animal does that, it's just instinct. They're just doing what they do. That's just part of their being. It's bred in them.
Well, I would say I would be the person that argues both the bear and there's the big giant, almost albino looking alligator thing earlier in the movie.
I fucking love that thing.
I don't know if I necessarily agree that they're just animals at that point, where they don't feel like they are, they're acting like with a little bit of a menace and with a little bit of a malice almost, where it's not just instinctual anymore. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that they are definitely hunting these people. And I think that they're definitely, like you mentioned, that they're not monsters more so that they're animals. I would say that they're definitely kind of a cross between the two. I'd say they're definitely monstrous, not just in their size and in their depiction, but also in the way that they are kind of predators against this group of women that are trying to make their way through the shimmer.
They're definitely more scary. I get what you mean. They are more violent. They are, but they're not in the sense like they're not typical movie monsters, is what I was kind of getting at, in the sense like they're not Predator, they're not Alien.
Well, no, they're not Predator because they weren't thwarted by a mud puddle.
Oh, shut up.
All right, quiet.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, I think it was a good idea to make,
to base them off of real animals, I think.
Real animals, exactly. Yeah. So you're not looking at it like some otherworldly type thing, but we're just seeing a different version of what we're already used to, which makes it even more scary.
Yeah. No, I can get that. Like I said, I think because, of course, and we've got to talk about what the shimmer really does, because one of the scientists hypothesizes that it's really this kind of like DNA prism, which is kind of reflecting genetic traits from one species over to another. Like you see shark teeth inside of the alligator's mouth. Of course, the bear incorporates, the woman screaming and doesn't have a face, like no face, the bear, whatever. And then like there's also horrifying depictions of it. but then there's also really beautiful depictions of it as well when you see the plants that have grown into humanoid shapes and things like that look really, really beautiful and almost kind of like there's this tranquility when you see those kinds of things. So I really, like I said, I would think that they kind of adapt a little bit in that regard to where maybe they become a little bit more than just a normal animal. But I can also see the angle you're approaching it from.
It's the light in the dark of everything on this planet, man.
Yeah.
There's life, there is death, there is beauty, there is hatred. And I think it's just a way of portraying that. Again, those aren't the only themes in this film. There's so many things that we'll be mentioning here as we close out the review. But I mean, that's what our world is. And to put it up and show it to us in this way, is really thought provoking. And it makes you think because, I mean, we're in this state of society right now where we're so sensitive, yet we're dealing with such bullshit and other factors. We're not going to get political here because that's not something that I really want to do on the show. But I mean, this film just gives it to you as it is. And it makes you think about it. And I mean, you could take the violence in this film one way or the other, but this is what our world has always been. Our planet has always been life and death. It grows, it's beautiful, things die in horrific ways, and sometimes that's hard to accept, but that's what it is. And that was one of the strong realities of this film that really hit home with me, that a lot of people, they like to hide it. They like to, throw it under the carpet, so to speak. They like to pretend like that's not the case, when in reality, it's always been the case, and it will always be the case. And I don't think that's a pessimistic way to look at it, but I think it's just a realistic way to look at it and just to accept it.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. And I wanted to move on from that. And then there's one other thing in terms of one of the horror elements of this film, not only the videotape that they find when they get to the military base, which is just, it's not really as horrifying as it is just kind of really raw. But then when you see, like, later on, there's the scene where they go to I think it's a pool. I think it's a pool that they're in, that the guy died in. That you see, like,
oh my god,
the way
that's
that
one of my
he's,
favorite
like,
scenes
splayed out and killed, like that. Like, first of all, hats off to whoever designed that thing, because that was just wow. Like, that was just like awe-inspiring is probably the wrong way to describe it. More like I was awestruck by how horrifically but beautifully designed it was.
Dude, currently my Facebook background on my fucking Facebook page right now, late last night, that image in my head just stuck with me this whole week, because you rarely see, Nick, such beauty and such horror in death and life in one image ever, where you can look at something that's so distinctly unnerving, but still something that you look at and you go, I love that, and it goes back to our own humanity. But I mean, that's what we are. And I love that imagery. That's probably one of my favorite shots and favorite scenes in the entire film.
Yeah.
You could fill a whole art book with just stills of this movie.
You could. Very easily.
I think all the performances all around here are fantastic. I don't think the film would have been as good without that core center base. We'll go back to this right now, which is Natalie Portman. I mean, dude, I still feel like she should have won for Jackie last year at the Oscars. I get it, politics, but man, she was stellar in that film. And it was so great to see someone that was such a strong anchor in this movie carrying it along. When you almost rarely see a man. I mean, the only thing that I'll say about the film that kind of puts you off a little bit is obviously that it's not done in a linear fashion where, it's not straightforward. We do a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, there's a really
well, the whole film is really
the framing
told in
flashback. It's all a flashback. I mean, it's being told as.
And I'll be the person to say it. And LoySauce, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I hate the framing device in this film. Hate it.
Yeah,
I detest it because I don't think the film needs it whatsoever, at all.
Yeah, there's a whole framing device with Benedict Wong, who's interviewing her, I guess, about her experiences in The Shimmer, and every time it cut back to that, it took me right out of the movie.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like the movie would have been better served if it were mostly cut out, although I do think a lot of the key themes were hammered home. And if you took those scenes out, the movie would have been a little bit, I would say, even more murky in terms of what it's actually about. Again, these scenes don't like spoon feed anything to you, but I do think it's helpful to have her kind of reflecting on her experiences in the shimmer. I just think they could have done it in maybe a different way, or just whenever they kept cutting back to it, it kind of frustrated me as a viewer a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely, you're exactly right when you say it pulls you right out of the film, because that's 100% what it does. Like every single time they cut back to it, I was like, stop cutting back to this. Like, and especially like,
when you're
subsequently, it would be more interesting. Like what was happening? Like you're trying to kind of explore more and more and more of what's happening in the shimmer. And I really feel like it would have been better served to just leave you there. And I liked the flashbacks. Like I like that they explored more of Portman's relationship, especially Lena's relationship with Kane, and her relationship with Daniel, her coworker, who we also find out she's having an affair with. So I love that they do those flashbacks and you get more of those pieces of her character throughout the film. But the framing device, that's like the biggest detractor for this film for me is that framing device. I really, really feel like the film could have done something way better, way better than that.
Definitely. What I think, as we're wrapping up the review here, I mean, this is an experiment that could have gone horribly wrong, but instead what I think we got was a film that really is truly thought-provoking in a world of, generic action science fiction spectacles. And now, not to say that the film's not a spectacle, it certainly is. This movie takes you to a place that you've never seen before, with some of the most beautiful production design. And I can't say enough, like, Sci-Fi hasn't been done this well in a long time. And I'm a huge fan of Blade Runner 2049. It was one of my favorite films of last year, but this just has something to it that I can't even explain. There's no words for it. And that's why, again, going back to it, there's people that are questioning the film that, they loved elements of it. They don't know how they feel about it in the end. And I recommend you see this a second time, because when you go in to see this movie again and you enter the shimmer for the second time and you just allow your body and your mind to just be sucked in, like literally, detense yourself, like just relax your neck and your body, do some yoga moves, man, and just chill. Like you just had a massage for real, man. Just being serious. Relax yourself, relax your mind, and just let the shit happen to you, because very rarely, Nick, do I feel that films, have this effect on you. Like I can't even explain to you like how much this film kept pulling at me and tearing me back into it and see me again. Watch me again. There's so much more to me, and there's going to be so much more to it as I continue to think about it.
Yeah, this is definitely another a film that I really, really want to explore again. I really, really want to watch this film again, just so I can really, now that I know the story beats, and now that I know the character beats, I can really start to focus in and hone in on the philosophical aspects of it, which is what I'm sure you got to do more in your second viewing of it. Like I said, I took away mostly the character interactions, the character relationships that you got here. The one thing, there's one character quibble that I have in here that I really, really disliked, and that was the whole revelation of, Lena's relationship with Kane vis-a-vis the other girls in the group. It seems to me like it was just kind of a forced dramatic moment. Like it didn't need to be withheld as anything. And then when it's revealed as something, like it's made a bigger deal of than it really necessarily needed to be or should have been. Like I didn't get why it was a big deal the whole time, and I didn't care.
Yes, to be honest, that was something that confused me as well. Like, what's the big fat hairy deal about her withholding?
I feel like that would give the girls, like, if she went to them and like wanted, like, talk to all of them, was like, no, that's my husband, I want to go in there and figure out what the fuck's going on. Like, that would have only made even more sense, and then it could have changed the interactions when they get in there. But yeah, like, to me, I didn't get why it was such a big plot point that they not know. And then when they find out, especially it was Anya Thornton, Gina Rodriguez's character, who like freaks the fuck out about it, and I'm like, who cares? Like,
I think to give it some effect, though, you see this character is the one that's having the biggest problem once she gets in there with what she's seeing, when she's denying everything. Like when they see the video footage of Kane, cutting open one of his comrades with a knife in his stomach, and she's the one that's denying it the whole time. When she gets in there, she's the one having the biggest problem with it as far as accepting it. Everyone else seems frightened by it, but she's the one that's having the largest problem with seeing, well, this is what I'm actually in right now. I actually liked it. I get what you're saying, though. I mean, it wasn't completely necessary, but I think to add that paranoia moment for her, and I liked that scene where she goes nuts because, I mean, hey, man, that's how we react
the scene
as
where
humans.
she went nuts. I love the paranoia that her character has. I think that they could have gone about that in a completely different way. I think that the linking it to, you know, the husband's true identity vis-a-vis Lena was just, I think it was just lazy, and I think it was really just a forced traumatic moment. Like, we need something to make her go crazy. This. You know, like, why not be like, oh, Lena really loves McDonald's, and they find a McDonald's in the shimmer, and
well, they
freak out about French fries or some shit. You know, I mean,
yeah, they referred to it more than once too. You know, right before, you know, the bear attack there in the field as well. They continue on to push it to you know, make you reminded of the fact that I don't think it was a good idea. And then, you know, Jennifer Jason Leigh's like,
I really want to see that movie where, like, they discover a McDonald's in the shimmer, but, like, a Big Mac has, like, genetically melded with French fries, so it's got, like, French fries, like, coming off of its head or so. I don't know.
And then
I'm getting into weird
has a double
here.
cheese head, like that giant hamburger head that used to be at the McDonald's playground with the Mayor McCheese. Yeah, man, but it said the Hopster's head with, like, a beard and bloodshot eyes because he hasn't slept and he's fucking on drugs.
But, mutated can of PBR.
Yeah,
oh my God.
But let's close this up, man. Let's close up the shimmer for now. We may re-enter it again at another time because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll save the ending for you guys. We won't spoil anything about the ending. We'll let you get in there, and we'll let you draw your own conclusions about the way that the film ends, because, I mean, it definitely is a big, like, question mark kind of thing. Like, it really forces you to kind of examine everything that came before it and really, quote unquote, figure it out, as it were. We'll save that for you guys. We'll leave that for you guys. We won't spoil any of that for you.
Yeah, definitely a brain teaser of a movie and a sci-fi puzzle, as it were. It's a movie that's not meant to provide you with answers, and I think that's the best thing about it. The ending is ambiguous, and it's left up to you, the viewer, unlike anything else you usually get. Because, again, I'm going to go back to this, and it's not bashing other science fiction films, other action films, other big stuff
except
that you
for
watch.
Covenant, we're bashing the shit out of that.
Well, yes, fuck that movie. Seriously, fuck you, Ridley Scott. Yeah, for real. Dead serious. But, you know, this film is as gorgeous as it is disturbing. It's beautiful, it's terrifying, it's visceral. It deals with themes of self-destruction, evolution, you know, dependence on others, what scares us the most. And one of the things that I thought was the most terrifying that it deals with is one thing that we can no longer trust, which is our own body. When you get to that point, that's one of the most terrifying things that we deal with on a normal basis. Cancer. I mean, it's all there. And this film, again, it's meant to linger in your mind like that cancer. And it haunted my fucking dreams. Again, I saw it on Wednesday. And I'll be honest, guys, it didn't blow me away the way that I wanted it to, because I think I was expecting a different film. But I went in the second time, it answered a lot of questions, and it led me to want to watch it again. And that's, you know, a benefit. Thank you, Alex Garland, for making a thought-provoking film.
Well, I mean, in that case, throw the number on it. Do it. Do it dirty.
I'm doing it, man. This, to me, is a near masterpiece of the genre. We rarely ever get a film like this, and I've blabbed fucking enough about it, so I'm going to slap a number on it. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. Very rarely does a film do this to me, where I feel this way about it, where I want to go back to it, where it grabs a hold of me so tightly. And it's not just entertainment. I mean, to be fair, there's entertaining moments in this. Yes, I like seeing the bear kill people. Yes, I like seeing how visceral and brutal it is. But above all, it's asking questions, and it's making me think about those to myself, to answer them for myself. And that means more to me than any awesome action battle at the end of a comic book movie. 9 out of 10 for me.
I'm going to throw it over to LoySauce now. Just let him riff on this thing for a couple of minutes. Let him get into it.
I hate to do this because it seems like we do it all the time. I'm going to have to go ahead and give this movie a 9 out of 10 as well. Just aping right off of Justin. I mean,
damn it,
but
LoySauce.
It's fine. It's fine, LoySauce.
Justin, are we ever going to have a differing opinion on movies?
Well, me and Nick, we have that problem sometimes. But then,
I mean, when are we going to disagree about anything? At any rate, coming off of Ex Machina and then this film, I think Alex Garland is a visionary. There's something to be said about a film that completely absorbs you. It takes you to a strange, otherworldly place. It makes you think about what you're watching. I dislike when I watch a movie and I watch it passively. I just my eyes glaze over, and because it's so surface level, it's so banal. And then you get a movie like Annihilation that actually has things going on in it other than what's on the screen. I have some reservations with it. As Nick said, I despise the framing device. There's a portion in the second act, I'd say, that just sags. It's a very deliberately paced film, so you need to have patience with it. This isn't a mile-a-minute action thriller, although there are some thrilling moments in it. I think it's a film that deserves your time and your money, because now more than ever, we need to show studios that we want more films like this, as opposed to, Marvel movies are great, but movies like this, unfortunately coming out the weekend after Black Panther, and unfortunately in international territories, is being released direct to Netflix. I mean, can you imagine, not seeing this in a theater? I mean, this is
the sound design, the visual presentation. I mean, this is a film to see in the theater. It'd be an absolute tragedy to watch this on your TV as the first viewing.
Exactly. So for that reason alone, you need to go support this film. I believe in it. I believe in Alex Garland. All-female cast, kicking ass, except for Oscar Isaac and Benedict Wong, who are fine, but it's really the females who carry this film and anchor it and give it its heart and soul. I mean, we didn't even touch on, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, great cast.
Great performances. Fantastic performances from all of them as well. Like I said, it's great to see a film that is heavily anchored by a primarily female cast and a badass female cast at that. They're not whimpering, they're not damsels in distress, they're very strong, very capable, very intelligent characters. I love that about it.
Absolutely. It's just amazing to see a movie so starkly balance the beauty and the horror of life and our planet, and to see a slightly mutated vision of life and animals and plants all kind of coalescing in this nightmarish world. So it's utterly unique. Like I said, it's original. I mean, it is based on a book, but it feels utterly unlike anything else that's out right now. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. Nick?
Well, I am not going to be in lockstep with you guys, because for me, I mean, unfortunately, the framing device for me really kills this film in a lot of ways. I really feel
kills it.
I mean, kills the momentum of it, kills the buildup of each of those scenes. I'm getting more and more invested every single time, and then they cut back to it, and it completely dissipates every single bit of it.
I understand.
And for me, that's criminal, and I can't forgive it as much as you guys can. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I do still think this is an utterly beautiful film. I do think this is a must see. LoySauce is 100% correct. Get out to a theater, see this film in a theater, and make your voice heard. Make sure studios know that we want to see films like this that are visceral, films like this that are intellectual, that you have to sit and you have to digest and you have to really ruminate about. And like I said, films with badass, amazing, capable female casts that don't need to be carried through a film by, a male lead or anything like that. I love that the most about it. And like I said, Alex Garland is still one of my favorite writers and directors who's working, and this just further solidifies that fact. And like I said, I'm super excited to see where he goes from here.
He said he's not directing. He will never direct a Marvel movie. So there's that.
Hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
Listen, he can make a Marvel film that's like this.
Nick just liked one.
I did just like one. That's true. But he could make a Marvel film that's like this, that's actually got layers and depth to it, and I'd be fine with it.
Will it be the Multiple Man movie with fucking James Franco? Oh, hi.
No.
I don't know. What character would it even be? Silver Surfer. There you go.
There you go. Actually, damn, that would be cool.
Put him on Fantastic Four. Give him the Fantastic Four.
Don't be trolling me that hard. Come on, dude. Well, that's it for our Annihilation review, guys.
See it.
All around
See that movie.
the epic film, guys. Yeah, we're all saying
strong
see
recommendations. Just ignore the framing device. Put it out of mind. It hopefully, like I said, it kills me just being that writer. I approach it from that writing mentality of like, stop doing this. He's such a capable writer too that like when he does that, and I don't know if that's in the book or not, so I have no idea if that's something that's adapted from the book or not. But if it is, drop it next time. Like you could have just completely fucking left it out.
From what I've heard from people who have read the book, this movie bears little resemblance except for the main plot.
Oh.
So,
yeah, even reading the back jacket of the book, it seems like, they kind of went a different direction slightly with this,
I would
which
wonder
I'm
if
totally
they do
happy about.
The framing device in the novel as well. That's something I'll have to look into. But yeah, I mean, either way, whosever decision it was, get rid of it.
Yeah, I have the book. I'll be reading it soon to compare and contrast.
Let us know how that works out, LoySauce, because I'm definitely interested in the book as well after seeing the film. And I mean, like you could not have said it any better. Get out to a theater, see this film, show studios that we want more films like this, more films that are going to challenge us and, make us think.
And that's it for the review. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be out here to get a little bit nuts on the Epic Film Guys podcast, and then we're going to close out the show. Ooh. We'll be right back.
Stay cool, bird boy. A laundry service that delivers. Wow! What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! My name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it's the chilling sound of your doom. Is the party over? I find that unlikely. Winter has come at last. They're the harbingers of your doom. You're not sending me to the cooler. I've come to make your life a living hell. The Iceman cometh. I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. I hate when people talk during the movie. Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming. Your emotions make you weak. That's why this day is mine. Tonight, hell freezes over. I'll kill you next time. Freeze well. If revenge is a dish best served cold, then put on your Sunday finest. It's time to feast. Their bones will turn to ice. Their blood will freeze in my hands.
And welcome back to the Epic Film Guys podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Justin, I hear that you are about to get a little nuts. Is that right?
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
That's right.
We love
Come on.
cock. Who said that?
Let's get nuts. I never said that. I never said that. But you know what? To our fans and listeners on the show, we like to give you guys stuff. We love to just throw stuff at you and hope you enjoy. And this week is very special because we just talked about Alex Garland's Annihilation, which we hope you go to see in theaters.
Do it.
And we're gonna
in the cinema.
We're gonna give you some Alex Garland stuff to enjoy. Yeah, baby. Not only are we giving you one digital code for Ex Machina, we're gonna give a second digital code for Ex Machina, and then we're gonna give a third code for Dread. That's right, Dread.
Man, we are fucking
baby.
nuts.
So 3 digital codes. We're just giving this shit away for free to you guys.
No, not that one.
We love you.
Not that one. Right?
Well, not Dread. Though we love that Dread. We'll give that one away another time. Actually, we'll give you a VHS, a DVD, a Blu-ray.
We will give you Rob Schneider.
We will kidnap Rob Schneider and his Trump-loving ass, and we'll send his ass to your house. You can do what you want with him.
You can bite him.
You can kick him in the face if you want. I don't know. Do what you want with him.
Put him in a dryer.
There you go. Well, he is an animal, right? And he is the new chick, right? He's a lot of things. He's
the hot chick.
Hot chick, yeah. Hot. Is he really the hot chick? I don't know.
Well, he is in the film The Hot Chick.
Nick, if I recall, you did have him on the soundboard. His voice was on the soundboard for a little while.
Is it still? I don't know. I haven't played it, and I do still it.
You can do it!
There you go.
Schneider's on there. But all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, for these digital codes, we're going to be giving all 3 away in the Hopster's Dumpster. That's right, you can. Make sure if you're not a fan in the Hopster's Dumpster, head over to our Facebook page, like the Facebook page, facebook.com/epicfilmguys, and like the page, and then ask to join the Hopster's Dumpster as our official fan group of the Epic Film Guys podcast. You just have to answer this question. What movie was Alex Garland paid $1 million to write a screenplay for that never got made? Again, this is a movie that he got paid $1 million for. He wrote the screenplay for. The film never got made. Be the first one to answer that question in there, the second person, the third, the fourth, whoever. Just answer the question in the Hopster's Dumpster. You're entering the chance to win digital code for Dread and Ex Machina. Ooh, yeah. Ex Machina. Ex Machina. Ex Machina. Oh, yeah.
Ex-vagina?
I mean...
What kind of drugs do you take?
None at the moment, but the whiskey, it's rye whiskey, and I mean, it can't really do much about that. The Hopester is going to show up in a minute, so just be quiet, please. Be quiet.
What's up, my Nubian friend?
Wayne, that does not help. Oh my god, but yeah, jump over into the Hopster's Dumpster. You've got 3 chances. So we're giving away 3 different digital codes, and... well, you'll just kind of get what you get whenever we give away the prizes. But nonetheless, yeah, answer that question and you'll be entered to win. The poll will be open for, I don't know, a couple days after the episode drops. I don't know. Whenever I feel like closing it and do the drawing is usually when it gets done. So just, yeah.
We'll mail LoySauce to you at your house in a box. And oh, man. Did you really?
I don't even remember saying that.
I remember you saying something else to me last night that I won't speak publicly about.
I didn't suck a dick last night.
Was that it?
But I didn't, though. I certainly didn't. I don't know what LoySauce has done. I mean, I may have eaten a hot dog last night. I may have seriously eaten like a foot-long hot dog while I was watching Red Heat. No, it's detached. It's in a bun. It's heated up. It doesn't count.
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks
in a row.
Man, I always
love
when,
what I'm talking
like
about.
I've adapted the soundboard to the point where I'll play it in the first segment, and then when we do the review, I don't ever really touch it. And then when we come back in the third segment, we come back strong, and all of a sudden there's a lot of dick talk
Overload. Nick you could tell what Nick's thinking about.
Hey,
at the
try
end
not
of the
to
show.
suck any dick on the way through the parking lot.
Maybe.
Who knows if he's going to bed or if he's actually going to go do something else, his secret life.
Shh, don't tell
Unless he's
people
going
things.
to dream about that. I mean, I don't know if that's what you like to dream
Little
about.
column A, little column B.
We just want to thank you guys, though, for tuning in this week.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun. We have our Harry Potter spotlight that we recorded this evening.
Harry Potter.
It's going to be a great time watching all those films and reviewing those films. And, you know, we love you guys. We appreciate you listening. And we love you too, Tommy.
We definitely love Tommy.
What happened between me and you, Tommy, I don't want you to tell anyone about it.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
Well, it's good with you, though. Yeah, man. It's wrinkled, it's old, but it's very muscular. I know that you do pull-ups with it, so it looks almost as muscular as your arms do.
Jesus.
You know, your 75-year-old arms, but, I mean, they look good for their age. So.
That's a very good question.
I don't even know how to segue to an ending off of that.
Now Justin has just got me thinking of Tommy Wiseau's cock.
Well, you've seen his bare ass. You've seen that on many occasions, Brian. So, I mean, you have to think.
I don't want to think about it.
If you're seeing the back, you have to think about the front to see how it matches, and you always think about that. How can you look at the back and not think about the front and vice versa?
Oh my
God.
I think that says more about you than does.
Think about the other side.
That is hilarious. Oh my God.
It's late, guys. And it's time
for
the show to end. It's the and Ninja Man. It's not racist, Brian. Shut up. It's not racist.
Someday someone will explain to me what the fuck he's talking about when he says that.
Watch the film and you'll understand.
Is that the game night? Is that game night?
No, it's from Best Friend.
I'm so glad to have you as my best friend.
Well, I haven't watched it yet. I have to wait until it comes out so I can watch it.
You just have to wait until Tommy comes to your house and hand delivers that shit to you and goes, please watch with me. It real thing.
I mean, he can do that whenever he wants.
I've watched it, and I'm not convinced that it is a real thing.
We just dreamed it up in our head. See what Annihilation did? Annihilation made us go home and think that a brand new film with Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero came out, and it didn't. We just dreamed it, and we dreamed that it was a good movie, and that just goes to show how thought-provoking the film was, because it made us think that there's a Tommy Wiseau film where Tommy Wiseau is actually good in it. Like, he's a good actor in it. He's good.
He does give a good performance, I will say.
I credit everything I'm saying to this whiskey, so I'm done. I'm going to bed.
I sucked a dick last night.
You did, I didn't. You said it first.
You heard the man. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into the show. Remember, Live Stream for the Cure 2.0, 30 hours of live stream content coming your way, May 18th to the 20th. And I'm going to start putting out some more information in terms of people being able to make early donations. We're going to get new graphics and merchandise out sometime in the month of March, so we can start getting those out for sale. All the proceeds to all of that branded merchandise will also go toward the total. And we've just got so much more to do. I've got so many more things that I want to wrap up into that event. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So stay tuned. And then next week on the show, Justin, Oscars, baby. We're talking Oscars wrap up. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for the big night. And if you want to know some good snacks that you can make for Oscar night, tune into episode 16 of The Restaurant. Just dropped today, the end of season 2, where I talk about a couple of different bruschetta recipes. One that I came up with was a dessert bruschetta.
Hey, what the hell is bruschetta?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What
we
the
almost
fuck?
made it, too.
What in the fuck? What are you speaking about?
God,
I don't even know what that means.
LoySauce, we were so close.
Is that a kind of drink? Is that a kind of vodka from a very special
I sucked
place
a
in
dick
the world?
last night.
I don't do that kind of thing. Hey, you're talking about food and all these fancy things. How about sending me some food here? How about inviting me the fuck up there to New York and I'll get to eat with you?
What, I thought you were already crashing with Patrick Sherwood.
I got so fucking drunk, I don't know where the fuck I am now. I think I ended up in Ohio or something. This LoySauce gentleman, I heard him earlier. He was eating something. I thought maybe he should give that to me instead of him eating it. You know how fucking hungry I am? I fucking weigh 150 pounds. I'm like 6'4". I'm huge, but I'm really skinny. And all I drink is alcohol. I need something to actually eat. And I need you to supply that to me. I also want to make sure that you're under the understanding that I'm going to be the host of this live stream for the booze event, which is going to be all a benefit for me so I can get even more fucking drunk. I want to be the drunkest I've ever been in the entire world. Come on, man. Help me out, man. Help a drunk out. You know, I'm the most fun, friendly, homeless, dirty ass motherfucker you'll ever meet on the street. You know, we could be friends together. And I won't suck your dick, but I'll watch you suck someone else's, and I'll pay for someone not to see
last
it.
Night.
Emily, not cool.
Whoa, Emily actually said that. Oh my god!
She's a
That's
pretty
the first time
looking
I'm hearing
girl.
of this.
I would love to get in a room with her. More like a dumpster, though. That's more like my kind of thing. That's what I enjoy doing. If it's not dirty, then you can't have it the way you want to have it. That LoySauce gentleman, he knows what I'm talking about. He likes hotel rooms and such. Just ask him; he'll tell you all about it.
Hot damn. Well, shit. Well, like I was about to say before we were so grizzlingly interrupted by the
live
hoster.
stream for
Get the fuck
booze.
out of here. Keep quiet.
2012.
Beat your ass.
I didn't suck a dick last night.
That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
A bald-faced lie.
Oh, yeah. callback to earlier in the episode, possibly in the patron-only segment. I don't even remember when that was.
Comes full circle. Comes full circle.
Full circle. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very, very much for listening. You guys are amazing, and we absolutely love you. Please, 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 if you have not gotten a chance, get over on iTunes, subscribe to the show, and rate and review the show. Let us know what you think. And we would love to hear from you, and it'll help us out a lot. It'll help us get out to an even wider audience. Big ups, big congratulations to our bros down in Perth over on the countdown. Number 4 in the iTunes store in the US last week they hit, which is fucking insane. We're not even in the top 200, so we're going to grab on your dick and
remind them. Major props to the countdown. Those guys deserve it, though. Don't remind me.
They are just killing it, and major congratulations to them. That's absolutely amazing. So yeah, stay tuned next week on the show. Like I said, we're going to be talking Oscars, and then who knows what else is going to happen in the world of film between now and then. So for myself, for Justin, for the filthy, nasty, disgusting piece of shit fucking Hopester, and
that just stole my bottle of whiskey, by the way.
Just stole your bottle of whiskey. For
he walked out the door with that
ladies
shit,
and gentlemen, the god of podcasting himself, the god of podcasting. Wait, shit. That was the wrong button.
Wow, thanks.
And it was spacey too. Is that worse somehow now? I think it is.
Oh man, yes. The show's just getting worse and more dirty and politically incorrect by the moment.
LoySauce, the god of podcasting, just putting in the hours down at the Alamo. We love you. Thank you very much for being here to tear apart Annihilation with us and to tear apart Harry Potter in a different way. I'm going to leave that sentence out there and just not even amend it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But yes, you guys are awesome. Like I said, thank you all very, very much for listening. And go ahead, Justin, and take us home.
We will see you, Ninja Man, at the movies. Ninja Man.
From the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.